Right. Oops. That's it. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to JPWHUTV for the third podcast, and for the first time ever, a man who's making another record-breaking night tonight. Wayne is back again from Dallas Hammers. Wayne, say hello, mate.
Hello.
How's things? All right.
Passing the death sentence. Here you go. I mean, you've had me on twice now. It's probably your show's going to fold now for definitely, mate. Feeling good though. Feeling good.
Good.
Feeling rested.
Good. I caught the latter stages of the conversation you and Tim had with Gonzo on American Hammers TV last night. See, very good conversation as ever. Really happy for Tim if he's watching. If you are, mate, say hello in the live chat. Very happy that they've been invited into the Hammers Chat 24 hours live stream for the charity causes. Brilliant. Super. It just shows how great the channel has been over the last 5 to 6 months. That I know that Gio's been on and Gonzo's been on, and they've been in communication with them a lot about a few things, and it's great that those guys are helping Tim and everybody to get exposure to the channel. I'm very happy for him. He's a good mate of mine, as are you, for that matter, Wayne. I think I've spoken to you more recently than I have Tim.
Yeah, Tim and Lee have done a fantastic job with the channel. I mean, I just guest host on it really when Lee isn't available, to be honest, because I've had spare time during the day. But I certainly appreciate everything that Tim and Lee have done in letting me tag along to some of their success. But Tim's got his finger on the pulse, and he puts a lot of time into that. And as you put it into your show, and I just appreciate the time to hog up the airwaves, because that's what I am. He accused me. When he saw that I was coming on your show, he says, Are you how did he put it? Are you cheating on me? I said, what do you mean cheating on you? I said, you invited somebody else to co-host your show the other week. I said, what do you mean cheating on you? I said, there's nothing to do with cheating. We're not in a steady relationship or anything. I said, I'll go with whoever wants me, mate.
I've heard that about you, yeah.
Yeah, so what can you say? See, the word gets around. It's on the inside of toilet wall doors and all sorts of stuff.
For a fun time, call Wayne on them.
Here you go. Call Wayne for a fun time on YouTube.
Today's video is sponsored by 3retro.com. Click on the link in the description below to see their retro section, including polos like this, but you can also buy retro shirts from the 60s through to the 2000s. There's really nice Admiral shirts, t-shirts, polos, sweatshirts as well, including obviously the retro shirts that next season's kits are being based on as well. So go and check those out in the link in the description below. Any purchases that you make through the link will go towards helping out the channel. So any purchases you make, I'll be very grateful, because at the end of the day, guys, this is your channel as well as it is mine. The live chat is up and running. Doesn't look like anyone's in there at the moment, but oh no, Wally World. Hello, gents.
Wally!
Hello, Wally. Nice to see you again, mate. He's got about as much time as his hands as you do, by all accounts, because he watches Tim's channel, he watches this one as well. So always happy to spread the word. Okay, so basically, yesterday was a bit of a failure. Well, obviously, we were going to try and do this podcast yesterday, but
yeah, I apologise.
Being what they were, I'm completely understandable.
Yeah.
Yesterday marked the anniversary of Pellegrini signing up to be the West Ham's manager. So, Wayne, in your own words, mate, how do you feel he's done in the last 12 months?
Well, it's funny, because I think when he came in, I'll be honest, I really fancied Rafa Benitez coming in as manager when we were talking about it, because I figured, Pellegrini, he's done a great job and everything where he's been, but he's getting on a little bit, and I thought his ideas were a little bit old hat, and I liked Rafa Benitez, his familiarity with the Premiership, and I thought he would have been a good fit for West Ham. So when he came in, I was like, I don't know really about this geezer. He's had a lot of clubs that have got a lot of money, and when you work with clubs that have got a lot of money, you tend to work a certain way, and I think a lot of his success has been because he's had clubs of that nature, apart from his last couple clubs. But all that going aside, I thought he did a nice job, in pulling some of the newer players on board. I don't know whether some of that came about even before he took the position. I'm sure that they had a deal in place well before he was actually announced, and some of those players that came on board he had quite a bit of a say in that. And then, of course, those five first games came ahead, and I was like, "Oh, blimey, what the hell have we landed ourselves with here? This guy doesn't got a clue what he's doing." But I'm a patient lad. And of course, after that, it seemed that I will say that the high line that he wanted to play from the get-go, I thought, we're never going to pull this off. I had no confidence in our abilities at all to pull that off. I had no confidence whatsoever. I mean, did you think that we were going to be able to pull that off?
What, the first few games?
Yeah, I mean, after those first few games, I mean, I thought this guy's going to do nothing but drive us back down to the first division.
To be honest with you, mate, I was in two minds about it, because, like you, I did kind of think that that Rafa Benitez was the better option. We were so close of getting him before Bilic's appointment. If that interview had happened 24 hours later, I reckon we would have had Benitez, because obviously we all know what happened before he obviously went abroad and came back to Newcastle. But, you know, as I say, when I did my reaction video to it, in actual fact, I did two videos. I did one when it broke very late on that that Monday night, when Claret and Hugh put the article up. I did a quick video announcing that, and then when he did his press conference, I did a video about that as well. When I basically said that Pellegrini, in my opinion, is a short-term manager, purely because along the same sort of lines of the way we brought in Allardyce when we got relegated, because he was brought in to steady the ship and to try and push us on to the fabled next level, which we'll come into in a few minutes. But for me, as I said, up until he said he's got 10 years left in him, I think which is a bit of a cheeky little joke at the same point. Up until he said that point, I still maintained that he was a short-term appointment to try and lay the foundations at the club, and then try and get us in with better players year in over the next few years, because he signed on a 3-year deal, if I remember correctly. So it was just to get the basis there and to move on, and to try and get us into the place where, to be honest with you, 95% of all the fan base want us to be. We want us to be challenging for Europe. We might not necessarily want us to be in Europe, but we want to show that fight and that passion. We've wanted that for a long, long time. And it's weird to think that 7 years ago, last week, was the playoff final. You know, it just shows you how far, to a degree, we've come in those 7 years. Yes, okay, you know, we didn't have the threat of relegation over our heads this season. So it was 1 season and 1 season and 7 that we weren't worrying about that. But at the same point, it's been nice not to worry about that, because we've got a good manager. We've got one of the most, there isn't an adequate adjective to describe him. We've got one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen. I said it was a bad mistake bringing him in. I said it was a really, really bad mistake bringing him in.
I think we all did, mate.
You know, but he's proven me wrong, and I've said that all season. I'm always happy to admit my faults, and you know, Fabianski has proved us, and like you said, a lot of people wrong. But a mate of mine, Steve, he's been winding me up about that all season. When I say what a save, he turns around and says, "You didn't bloody want him. What are you saying that for?"
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it was. I mean, it's kind of like so. As I say, for the fabled next level. Obviously, as you say, you've been watching the Hammers for 4 or 5 decades now. What to you? What is the next level?
Year, mate. Well, it's interesting. This year has been, like you said, we haven't really. I mean, we've been safe, and I think that with being safe, I think we've come across something that we haven't come across in a long time, and that is the fact that. With being safe in that spot where you're not fighting for Europe because you're kind of safe, and you've missed the boat as far as Europe's concerned, but you're safe and you're not going down, so you're really not fighting to stay up. I think we've had to try and find other things to moan about because that's what we're good at, because that's all we know. Quite frankly, it's all we know. The next level, I think the next level is what we've got to be pushing for Europe. We have to be pushing for Europe, and to be pushing for Europe, you've got to have that. You've got to have that fighting mentality. We can't be having these stupid matches where we're coming up against teams that we know we have to beat, and we go out there and we field a squad that quite frankly looks like they couldn't beat the local primary school. That's what the next level is. The next level is that determination has to be there every bloody well game. It really does. Now, whether that be with the squad that we've got, and lighting a stick of dynamite under them every bloody match, and whether Pellegrini or somebody, some catalyst within that dressing room needs to be the person to do that, or whether we find out this year that it's not Pellegrini or it's not him that can do that, and we need to move elsewhere for it. I don't know. But I think that needs to be the thing that needs to be addressed. And I think we're going to find out this year whether Pellegrini really has got the, as we say here in the States, the cojones to pull us to that next level. Because there's no doubt that the man's got the pedigree. He's got the pedigree. He's got a cool, calm, sophisticated football head. He understands the game. He knows more about the game than you and I have ever forgotten or will ever know. Or shall I say he's forgotten more about the game. But there's that one thing inkling in the back of my mind, and that is, can he motivate players that have really not shown the knack for being self-motivated?
Well, I'm glad you said that, mate, because I was thinking about that earlier today. I think one of the reasons why we failed miserably in the FA Cup, I'll come to my reasons of what I think the next level is in a minute, but I think one of the reasons why we failed miserably at the first knockings against AFC Wimbledon is because we'd already beaten them in the League Cup a few, 5-6 weeks, how long ago it was beforehand, albeit by the skin of our teeth in a very, very West Ham way.
Yeah.
But I kind of, I do wonder if he has, like you say, he has that motivational skills because he's been there. He's been through the runner all so much. He's seen pretty much everything, I should imagine, as a manager, not just for the Premier League, but just in football in general. I think he's probably seen everything that's possible, right and wrong. And as a result of that, I kind of think, well, maybe for me personally, the next level is to continue on playing more attractive football, the better football, as you're saying, seeing more fight, more guts. There's been something niggling in the back of my head the last 5 or 6 months. It's all well and good that we released Ginge in this time last year. Understandable, because we brought in 2 very, very comparable centre backs as a result of that. But I'm just thinking, if we'd have kept hold of Ginge in just purely a coaching role capacity, and had him in the changing room along with Noble as always, and along with players like Diop and I think and Declan Rice, you imagine those 4 players all together in the dressing room. That is more motivation than I can think of than 100 managers. Because Ginge loves the club. I was listening to the West Ham Way podcast earlier today, and they were talking about Ginge because obviously he was in one of the West Ham pre-events that those guys do.
Yep.
And Dave Walker was saying about him trying to arrange the dates, and he basically said to Ginge that, what time do you need to leave, because I know you're training with Ipswich, so just let me know when you want to leave, and we'll work around you. And apparently Ginge said to Dave, I don't care about that. All I want to be around is the supporters. I just want to talk to them. You can have me as long as you want. That is the definition of a West Ham fan, both on and off the pitch. He loved the club in both spells. We could clearly tell that. Obviously, Noble is born and raised West Ham as well, from Canning Town boy. Which, by the way, we seem to have a lot of Canning Town boys over the years.
Seriously, right? Lately it seems to be all I'm bloody well hearing about. And
exactly,
I'm a Wimbledon lad. I'm a South West London lad here, for crying out loud. And all I hear about bloody Canning Towners.
It's like Dan Lawler said on his Twitter account. That if the amount of Canning Town boys we could start up an entire football club, You know, it's just the amount of times that's been brought up. I love some of the stuff he comes up with. It really is cool. But you know, as I say, if you think about those 4 motivational players in the dressing room, I severely doubt we would have lost to us for Wimbledon in the FA Cup, Cardiff away, you name it. You know, there's a lot more motivation in the club. You can tell that 100%. But for me, the next level is not just, as I say, not just playing very, very good football and playing from the first second to the last second throughout the whole 94, 95 minutes we normally get to see. But for me, the next level is having a proper go at the cups, albeit the league, FA Cup. That to me is the next level. It's not trying to push for Europe. I'd love it. Don't get me wrong. But because I love the European nights. I'm watching the game, guys going all over the world. It's us not going into Europe, but saving a mate of mine a lot of money because he when we did the Europa League qualification periods, he went to both the home and away games as well. So on top of doing all home and away in the league as well. So you know, he spent a few quid. But you know, as I say, for me, it's pushing on to try and sort ourselves out domestically before we try and do a run through Europe. And I hate to say it, in the same way that Spurs have tried to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I hear that, and here's my justification for that. I'd love nothing better than a decent cup run. But after this last FA Cup where Man City turned around and totally spanked Watford, I mean spanked them, I mean pitifully so. And that made me want to vomit, really did. And I don't have a problem with Man City. I honestly don't have a problem with Man City. I think, you know, that they got lucky with an ownership that came in and decided to chuck loads of money, whether it be money in a good way or money in a dodgy way. They still, you know, they got dealt the cards they got dealt. God bless them. And a lot of fans there, you know, that they're the real City fans, the real Manchester fans from years back who've seen crap, seen them go down, seen them nearly go down another division if things hadn't happened the way they did. Yeah, they deserve it. But I mean, even saw Pep Guardiola there at that FA Cup with his head in his hands, looking, going, "What the hell am I going to do here?" Because this is embarrassing for him. And what I'm worried about is that now the way these big teams want to, they're being effing greedy. They're being greedy. They want every damn piece of silverware there is out there. There was a time where all they wanted was the League Cup, and then they wanted to get into Europe. Now they want the League Cup. They want the freaking they want the FA Cup. They want the Carlsberg Cup. They want the freaking Toad in the Hole Cup. They want every cup that there is going, because it's all about amassing as many trophies as they can. And I don't think when you've got teams like Man City, and you've got teams like Chelsea, you've got teams like Man U, that the teams that have got all of the money that God's thrown at them in those cup competitions, the little teams, quite frankly, and we are a little teams like West Ham, like Watford, like Wolves, like Everton, have really got as much of a chance as you used to have in a cup competition. And so I think that it's a tough race now, and I don't think the cup's like it used to be. It's not that the tradition isn't there like it used to be. It's not shown that the FA Cup's not shown like it used to be. The feeling isn't there like it used to be. For people like me, I remember, you know, getting up early in the morning and watching the dressing room staff, the players on the bus, smoking their fags and frigging drinking what they're not supposed to be drinking on the coach down to Wembley. You know, waving at people, you know, on the side of the road on the way down there. There's none of that anymore. It's all about the big money and the big boom bloody like fire blowers at the stadium, and that's all it is. And then you see the cucumber sandwich brigade all leaves at half time, and you see big load of empty bloody seats at Wembley. So it's not the same feeling as it used to be. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I'd love a cup run. I'd love a cup run, but I want a cup run that's going to end up at something. I don't want a cup run that's going to end up with West Ham losing 5-0, 6-0 to Man City. I don't want that happening. I would rather us go out to God knows Pakistan, out in Eastern Europe, play in a baseball field with barbed wire around it, and bring back a Europa. I really would. I would rather do that. And that to me would be everything. And then push into the Champions League, and then you've got a 50-50 chance, toss a coin, and and then you've got something decent out of it at the end of it. That to me is next level. Don't get me wrong, next level, I'd like either one of them. But the real next level is that attitude. That attitude has to be there. The attitude has to be there. Like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said somebody like Ginge. We would have won that FA Cup match. We would have done, because we didn't have the people with the attitude. I think you've got a handful of players with that attitude on the team now. I think you've got Mark Noble. I think you've got Robert Snodgrass. I think you've got Declan Rice. I think on a bloody good day, I hate to say it, I think you've got the Swiss cheese factory. I think you've got on a good day when he's feeling like he's got out of bed on the right side and the world loves him. But I don't think you got an awful lot more. I really don't think you got an awful lot more on that squad that really feels it and knows what it's like. I really and like I said, the wind blows the wrong way and Arnie Boy's gone. So, but you need those players, and I think that's what Pellegrini is saying, is he needs players to get that winning attitude. He doesn't need players to get that winning attitude. He needs to get players in that know how the West Ham heart beats. Can appreciate how the West Ham heart beats. A little bit like Diop said, these players don't really care how good or bad you are. They just care that you give 100%. Diop's starting to get it.
Wally's World has made a comment in the live chat, which I absolutely agree 100%, and I love this. It's brilliant. It said Ginge would have kicked Arnie's butt into shape 100%. Definitely, 100%. Really would have done. It's a shame that Ginge wouldn't have been able to do that when we had Payet at the time, but
yeah.
But the same, before anybody else jumps on the comment, I'll say this now. There's a very, very good argument that we are already playing in a baseball field, mate. There's going to be a lot of people saying that, yeah. I reckon.
Well, you know what, and that's something that people have been buzzing about that for the last couple of years, and they're going to be buzzing about it for the next 20.
Exactly.
We can't change it, can we? We can't change it, and it's not going to. And mate, as much as we all bloody hate it, it's not going to change. And guess what? Tottenham's got a fucking lovely stadium.
Inside,
I hate to say it. It's
inside, yes. Outside, it's fucking atrocity.
It's an atrocity outside, but inside, it's the dog's bollocks. It really is. It's gorgeous. And you know what? All the more reason for us to get our shit together on the field and go there and beat them every damn year. And following the model that they put out there business-wise. Not that the cheap tosspots that run our team are ever going to do that. They're never going to do it. But, I mean, we can't cry about it any longer. Roma plays in a toilet. Roma plays in a toilet. You go to a Roma match, the atmosphere is incredible. Okay? We just have to get around it. We have to stop crying about it. Times change. You know what? That London has changed, mate. You're right. We all would love to say it's going to be exactly the same as it was when we were all kids. Sure, I'm 55 years of age. I wish it was the same it was when I was a kid. Last time I went back to London, I was like, I don't recognise nothing anymore. Nothing's the same. Nothing's the same. Football's not going to be any different. It's not going to be any different. We can.
There's two words for that, mate. And I've been saying this for donkey's years. Pretty much ever since it got to the level that it is and the toxicity that it is Sky Sports. They are the reason why things have been changing over the last 10 to 15 years.
Yes, isn't it?
For good reason as well as the bad. Because in order to get a decent cut run, you're on the telly more. In order to stay in the Premier League, you need to be putting out having we have some big games on telly both away and at home, and those are the times that when we step up, because again, it's the amount of TV time that all clubs get, and it's turning into more and more as a business. And I hate to agree with Dave on this, but he hardly ever said anything I don't disagree with on the West Ham Way podcast. The working class football is disappearing from football. 100%. It's gone. It's a business now. We're turning into the NHL. We're turning into the NFL. It's getting really, really worrying. But the other side of it, at the same point, in order to get us there to that sort of level. Now, obviously, we'll talk about the players that we're rumoured to be going and rumours to be coming in as well. But even though we're linked with, say again.
be easier for us to talk about the players we're not rumoured to be going after.
Exactly, that's the point. We're linked to about 20 players for every position. It's ridiculous. But for me, what I want to know from your point of view is what positions would you reinforce next season?
I think we need a box-to-box midfielder. We need some depth there, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I think I'm all in favour of giving Jackie Wilshere a bit of a shot there. I think hang on to him, and I've changed my mind on that. I keep going back and forth on it. I'm like an old lady on this one, but give him a shot. But I think we need some backup there. I do think we need some backup. We need to get that Carlos Sanchez geezer out of it. I don't know why we ever got him in the first place. But I think we need somebody there in that midfield position that can help out a little bit. I think we need somebody that can attack there. Summed up, we need a Dixie type character there. That's what we need. We need somebody that can go out there and muscle it a little bit. Not your finesse player like a Lanzini or a Jack Wilshere that can go out there and pussyfoot around.
Grits and determination.
Determination. So, someone a little bit like Noble, quite frankly. Somebody that can go out there and be a leader on the team. Somebody that can go out there and lead by example and put a couple of hard tackles in and let people know who's boss out there. I also think that we're really, really soft in our back four. I really think we're soft in the back four. I think that Diop and Balbuena make a great partnership when they're partners. I think the moment one of them goes down, it falls apart back there, and that worries me. I think that Diop isn't half the centre back he is without Balbuena, and God knows I haven't seen Balbuena without Diop. I dread to think how bad he could be without Diop.
Well, we've seen that to a degree when he's played alongside Ogbonna as well. When Diop was rested for a little while. Don't get me wrong, I love Ogbonna's grit and determination, because at the end of it, let's remember that towards the end of the season before last, he played with a hernia for a lot of it, and we didn't know about that until obviously the end of the season, because that's when we were mathematically safe. He went out and had surgery. So I love the guy for that. But when he had that problem, he was playing through his skin because he didn't want that injury to stop him from working. So I love it from that side of things. But you're 100% right here, mate. We don't. I mean, if we do get in another centre back, it's going to be a luxury, to be honest with you. Because if you think about it, if taking Winston Reid out of the equation, although it's a requirement, we need to have two players for every position. So we've got 4 centre backs in total. Again, we've got to say we've got Balbuena, we've got Diop, and we've got Ogbonna. Yes, we can have Rice slip into that position if needs be, which is one of the reasons why he's been so fantastic as a defensive midfielder this season, because he's jumped in and helped out in defence when need be. One defender I'm going to miss is Andy Carroll. He was brilliant in defence for us for the games that he's played over the last.
Isn't that sad that you have to say that, though? Isn't that bloody sad that you have to say that Andy Carroll, one defender you're going to miss is Andy Carroll?
But what else? What other uses did he have over the last couple of seasons?
It's bloody sad, though, isn't it? But he did try. I mean, he's a big fella, and he put his time in back there and defended a little bit. I think the one thing we've got to watch out for is the fact that we need to keep the homegrown talent numbers up there. I mean, because I think we're precariously close to not having enough Englishmen on the squad. So that's the thing we've got to look at. I don't know what the numbers are, and I'm not even too sure what the rules are these days on that. But I think that with losing Carroll, and who else have we lost just recently?
Well, it's not nothing's been officialized as yet, but it's basically Carroll's gone, from what we understand. Adrian is, which we'll speak about in a few moments as well. He's going to be released. Nasri, we've let a few youngsters go from the under-23s that just aren't good enough, which happens every single season. It always happens. But at the same point, this is the reason why both Tim and I have been banging the drum about having players in like Joe Powell, Nathan Holland, Josh Cullen, not only to bring it in, because if I remember correctly, out of a 25-man squad, you've got to have, I think it's 12 or 13, around about that sort of figure, technically deemed as homegrown in order to meet the quotas properly. So
Yeah.
it's
But
a
they
bit.
can get around that, can't they? With like, as long as they've been to like an English academy or something. That's what the whole dodgy line is with it. So and God knows who has.
Yeah, it's like that, but also you've got to be deemed as being a junior. You've got to be you've got to be playing in England and for about 4 or 5 years from a certain age. Fabregas technically was deemed as a homegrown talent because of how young he was when he went to Arsenal, and that sort of thing. So it's very, very tricky. But at the same point, so coming around to the other half of the video, what we wanted to talk about is obviously Fabianski is off with the Poland team, so wish him all the best. Balbuena's off as well at the Copa America. And to be honest with you, out of all the players that we could have had gone to on international duty, obviously Rice is going to the Nations League as well, which is brilliant. I'm so pleased.
Give me a reason to actually watch England.
Yeah, exactly, a decent reason for a change. But you know, we could have had so many more internationals going out. Anderson could have gone, Lanzini could have gone, both of them could have gone to the Copa America and didn't. And likewise with Sanchez as well, he could have gone out for his national side as well, but it didn't, and I'm glad for that because you know what our injury rates are like, mate, with international breaks. But you know, it's just the thing is that there's obviously news that Caballero has triggered a 1-year extension at Chelsea. And I'm glad about that. To be honest with you, I do not want a player of his inability. I know the links with Pellegrini were, but that's it. I think that was the only reason why he was linked, because he was potentially going to be on a free, and then there's who else knows about him, and it's Pellegrini. Therefore, he was linked with us. And likewise with Giroud, that rumour stopped a few earlier in the week because he's signed an extension with Chelsea as well. One thing I'm really worried about, as good news as it is that Joe Powell signed a contract extension, it was only 12 months. Now,
well, the thing is, he needs to get a bit of time in the seniors, doesn't he? I mean, because he's not going to stick around if he doesn't.
Exactly.
Really, and I mean, I've watched some of the games he's played in. The kid's a talent.
Oh, no question.
The kid's the kid. I mean, he was in the pecking order. He should have been ahead of Dianjana. He should have been ahead of him, and there's a reason why he should have been ahead, because when you watch him play, there's a little bit more grit to him.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit more refined. I'm saying grit and refined at the same time, but you know, if you watch him play and you watch Grady play, you can see the difference. You can see the difference. He holds up more. He's got a bit more of a controlled head. He just looks like to me just looks like a West Ham player that could go somewhere. I'd like to see him get a bit of time. I really would like to see him get a bit of time.
You and me both, but this is what I'm worried about, is because how is he going to be able to do that if he's only got a 12-month extension? Is he going to be loaned out to a championship club, or is he going to be given a run out in games where it's okay to play the juniors? And this is what worries me, because as talented as he is, as we'll talk about some of the other juniors in a little while as well, I'm struggling to see where he can get in the squad.
I think you just give him a run out. You know, we rolled the dice with Declan Rice and didn't work out too bad for us, did it?
Did you mean that to rhyme?
No, I didn't. So,
but you know, it was.
And I can't think of anything that rhymes with Holland. So that no, definitely, because if I'd have been that smart, I would have thought of something that rhymed with Holland. But no, I think you find a game that hopefully, you know, hopefully we have a better start this year than we did last year. You find a game that's that suits him, and you stick him in final 15, 20 minutes, get him blooded, and see how he gets on. And you just, you know, if he does well, you give him a bit more time. And I think that's just the way you go with him. I really don't see. I'm not a big believer when you have this talent that you give them time in other teams in lower leagues. It's quite frankly, a lot of the times they're just going to sit on the bench in those lower leagues anyway. I'd rather see him in claret and blue and have him play a little bit for us. Give him a bit of pride in his team. That's what he wants to play for. The same thing with Nathan Trott. All of this business over, what do we do? Adrian's, talk now that Adrian may be going to Liverpool to ride the bench there at Liverpool.
Do you know what? To be honest with you, I can see it. I can see it 100%, but I can't at the same point.
I don't know. It's stranger things have happened, but
Green going to Chelsea to be their number 3.
Exactly. But I would, let's give Trott a bit of a run in the first team. There's no reason. I mean, the way Fabianski's playing, I've never been a great fan of splitting goalies between cup runs and league runs. I mean, I really haven't. I think if you've got a starting goalkeeper, start him.
I mean, I agree with Gonzo on that, because he was saying that he wants to see Fabianski play every single minute next season.
I agree with him.
The problem with that is that he obviously runs, especially the way that he makes those fantastic saves, he runs a big risk of picking up an injury playing 43 games a season, 43, 44 games a season, which is what our normal minimum is in the maximum is in the cups as well. But yeah, there's been talk of the other kid, was it Ananai, I think you pronounce it, or something along those lines. Apparently he's even better than Trott, from what ex-West Ham employee has been saying. Trott's been setting it alight. Apparently he's tipped to go out on loan next season, so hopefully that we'll be able to sort something out in that regards. But yeah, I would love to see more. Basically, at the end of the day, as West Ham supporters, we all basically say the same thing. We want more academy players in the squad next season. We always say it at the start of every season. But this, again, in the same point, that's the problem, because there's more money riding on your league positions and your coverage than there ever has been. The juniors are suffering on that level, unless you are of the quality of Declan Rice, unless you are of the quality potential of Holland and Cullen and that side of things. But this is the catch-22. I think we spoke about it before. Do you give them, as you say, let them go and see what happens, or do you let them sit on the bench and learn the experience and watch things? It's just there's no right answer to it. They're really.
They sit on the bench, but they get to train with the senior team. They get to rub shoulders with them. They get out there on the training pitch with them. You get them prepared to work with those players so that when the time comes, if something does happen, they can step in. So same with Coventry. Give them time. Give them time on the senior squad. Let them train with them. I just see it as a natural progression. I really do. I'm not a big believer in us. I don't think we need to sign a bunch of players this year. I really don't think we need to sign a bunch of players. I think we've got some players coming back from injury. I'm excited about Yarmolenko coming back. I really am. A lot of the times when I see who we got coming back from injury, I'm like, God, where are we going to put everybody?
That's my worry about the juniors, as I said. I'm glad you touched on Yarmolenko, because one of the players we've been rumoured to be looking at is Barami from Porto. His current salary is 88 grand a week. Why on earth are we looking at wingers when we've got the likes of Snodgrass, Anderson, Diangana? I know you're not a big fan of him, but Antonio, Holland, Yarmolenko, even Masuaku can play as a winger. We've got. I just don't get the logic. If it's true, then there's something going on in that side of things. But for looking at wingers, okay, yes, I know I've said on numerous occasions that Snodgrass and Anderson work best in the middle, but they can work out on the wing at the same point. So, I know everybody loves to overcrowd the midfield. Allardyce love to do it. Bilic tried to do it. It just seems to be that's the position where all games are won and lost is in midfield. So you've got to have as much firepower there as possible. But at the same point, do we really need 9 wingers in for one season?
Yeah, I think that's just a lot of. I think there's a lot of journalists out there just blowing smoke to see if something catches fire. I really do.
Definitely.
We've been awfully quiet. I mean, like I said, you've been listening to the West Ham Way podcast, same as I have, and and it still looks like the top target is still Gomez. It's with possible what we called it first Rondon,
Gomez. This irritates me, which is one of the other things I wanted to talk about when it comes to social media and how toxic it's getting, because there are a lot of people on social media who claim to know everything about this guy. I guarantee they would have known anything about him this time last year, because he was rumored to be in January. Yes, I know. There was a geezer who was on the live broadcast when I did the Watford game, where he said that he's been tipped heavily in Europe as a very, very good player. That's fine. I've got no issue with that. What I do have an issue with is the fact that there are a lot of people out there who claim to basically seem to be acting like his agent, that they've seen him play, they know his stats. Stats mean nothing, and stats are only important to Arsenal supporters. It's like, for example, do you remember when Hull came up from the Premier League and they beat Arsenal at the Emirates?
Yeah.
I was talking to a mate of mine when after that game, well, it was like the next day, and he said, "Yeah, but we had 60% possession." I said, "Mate, you scored one goal."
Yeah.
With that amount of possession, stats mean nothing. Stats can be manipulated into whatever you want.
I have this with Americans all the time, because Americans love their stats, and I'm like, there's a reason why we call it the beautiful game. And the reason why we call it the beautiful game is because we don't get bogged down in stupid bloody stats all the time. You can't.
That's the way it's going, mate. It's the way it's going, unfortunately.
The way the ball bounces, mate. It's the way the ball bounces, and what side of bed they got out that day. Whether they had an itchy ass when they went for that ball down midfield. It's all stupid stuff like that. It really is. It's what was there a divot in the field when he went to run and tackle? I mean, it's stupid stuff. It's bloody stupid stuff. So your stats are all well and good, and that it's lovely to think about stats, but possession means nothing. It depends on whether you connect with the ball properly and whether it connects with the back of the net. That's what it boils down to.
Exactly right, and that's what people seem to be forgetting, especially on social media. You touched on it last night with Gonzo, where he had a bit of time away from Twitter. Ryan Archer, one of the reasons why this channel is up and running as it is he again said on their roundup video of their post-match season point, where he said that he's taking himself off Twitter for a little while because he's fed up of seeing people argue about stupid fucking things. For example, people arguing about next season's shirts. We haven't even fucking seen them yet. They haven't come in. They've just been seeing people's mock-ups from what has been rumoured around, from what X has been saying, and a few other people have been saying about. That's it. We haven't even seen them yet. There is a big argument, and I agree with this 100%. Is if you're on social media and you don't like watching people arguing over the most stupidest things, don't follow them. Simple as that. Don't follow the accounts that retweet them. But I get it 100%. I mean, Wayne, you'll know from my tweets that I send out. It's only because of this channel. I promote the videos coming up and ask a few questions here and there. But that's it. I don't engage with anybody apart from, obviously, we've been talking and stuff and Tim and whatnot. But if I want to have a conversation with somebody, I'll either tweet them directly about it or I'll DM about it. I won't sit there going, I've just seen this, what a pile of shit, because that's not who I am. I'm not there to sit and front people. I've got better things in my life to do, same as you. But there's a lot of people out there that don't, and and that's what's making social media what was 15 years ago when Facebook kicked in was brilliant. It was a great way of people to stay in touch with friends they hadn't seen for 15, 20 years, whatever, or that sort of side of things. Now it's a platform for everybody to have a go at someone because their opinion doesn't match theirs. And it's indicative of the way that the world is, unfortunately. But at the same point, this is the reason why people have been losing their shit over us pursuing Rondon, because of his stats. It doesn't matter. The stats don't come out about this to say. I mean, Gio might say something different, but you don't see stats about how many attempts he's trying to set up. You don't see how many goals that he hasn't scored because the ball's gone a few inches here or there. You don't see that. All people have seen that he's played 30. He's played what 28 games from the starting 11 and scored 11 goals. That's all people see.
Yeah. And the thing is even if you chase it down and you look at these videos, you look at the videos out there, most of the time it's a video, and Gonzo hinted at this the other day when we chatted to him, is most of the time it's a video that an agent's put together or a family member's put together, even worse. And it's got bad, rights
music in the background
over the top of it. And all they do is that you see about a second and a half of the actual goal, and then it's about 15 seconds of the celebration going on. Yeah, fantastic. So you get a feel for it. And then you see another second and a half of the same bloody goal. And then about 30 seconds later, you see a second and a half of the same goal because they show it from another angle because it's so even better that way. It's all a lot of old codswallop. It really is. It's like you can't get the nut unless you sit down there and watch an actual game and you watch the player and see the way they actually pass the ball and the way they cover other players. When you're there in person, you really don't get to see what is going on with the player. You really don't. It's why a lot of the times, I mean, in my spare time, I commentate for lower league soccer over here in the United States. And I used to follow Major League Soccer here in the United States. And I ran supporters groups over here. But I got tired of doing it because, quite frankly, it just wasn't appealing to me any longer. Now I commentate for the lowest league of semi-professional soccer you can get here in the United States is what I commentate for. But it's real football. They go out there, they hit hard, they play hard, they care about the game, and I get to actually watch real football for a change, and it's fun. It's fun. But I get to see the skills. I get to see, people who are up and coming who are really trying to play the game instead of trying to play their agent's game, which is nice, and you see the enthusiasm, the people who are going out there and putting all of it on the field instead of just holding back and saying, oh, I've got to be careful because maybe I don't want to go in for that tackle because I might get picked for this squad or I might get picked for that squad. It's all the different matter. It really is. But it's like you said, there are a lot of bloody know-it-alls on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and quite frankly, I can't bear it any longer. I really can't. I go out there. I make the occasional comment. Most of the time, I just toot my own horn. What am I on? This is what I'm going to be on. Please watch this. Please watch that. Blah blah blah. I'll retweet when you've got a show. I'll retweet when Tim's got a show. If I like a show, I'll say this is good. Watch it. If I've watched a game that's good, I'll say watch this, please. That was good. I'm really interested in what's underneath your desk. So
just take my shoes off. My feet are getting sweaty. It's quite a hot day here at the moment. It's 21 degrees. It's quite a hot day.
Like me, I've got my air conditioning blowing, so I don't need to worry over here. But no, that's all I do. Every once in a while, I'll see somebody that you can see they're getting really aerated about it, and the little devil pops up on the shoulder, and I go, I could have a bit of fun here, and I don't take.
Do you know what though? One thing I absolutely love about where we are now as a club and a support base as we were this time last season is we are not being linked with every stupid bleeding player that the club that has been. Like, for example, up until the season ticket deadline last season, we were linked with Pastore for the majority of that 5 or 6 weeks.
God, yeah.
The second the season ticket renewal date stopped, that rumour just disappeared. And I am so glad we're not in that sort of position because the players, I know Tim's not happy with a lot of the players that we're linked with. For example, Mitrovic, Marega as well, Rondon. But I'd said in the last video we did last Wednesday that Rondon's the sort of player that I like to see. But at the same point, it's been reported that we can't buy anybody until we've sold, and I don't think that's right. I really don't think that's right. I understand the reasons why behind it, because the owners are trying to get the club out of debt as quickly as possible, and blah 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 blah. But at the same point, and that's what we touched on earlier, was about it's all becoming a business rather than being run as a football club. Yes, of course, I don't want us to spend too much and go get heavily back into administration that we could have done 10, 15 years ago. But at the same point, I'm glad that it makes people like me and Tim and you when you come on, I'm glad that we've got hardly anything to talk about, because it just means that there's more focus going on and getting deals done than what's appearing on 90minutes.com and and appearing in the Daily Mirror. Because it's just ridiculous stories. And one of the things that I didn't really want to touch on about rumours is because I like to sift through all the crap and just focus on what stuff is potentially going to happen. Now, one of those things looks like, and I feel this is quite harsh for him at the same point, that Perez is off to potentially either Alvarez, I think you pronounce it, or Real Betis for £2 million. We paid £5 million for him last season.
I can't see us letting him go for £2 million, mate. I can't see it.
No, it's pointless. It's a pointless thing, because what's it going to bring us in? £2 million? Nothing.
Nothing.
If that is going to be the fee that he's genuinely going for, I feel that is an absolute insult to the boy. I know he's not been brilliant for us this season. He's only scored 3 or 4 goals this season, but I just find that to be a complete insult to the boy.
Because he's had 2 braces for us, hasn't he?
Cardiff and he scored a couple in the 8-0 drubbing of Macclesfield, but in terms of league goals itself, I think he's only done about 4. I think.
Yeah. But see, that makes no sense to me at all. When I read that one this morning, I'm like, no, I can't see this. Now, if there was a sell-on clause to it, I could understand. If we were going to get something out of a sell-on clause, if it was like over a certain amount and they had to sell him for a certain amount, yeah, but that's not going to happen. Things like that, I just think, just smell totally of what we have a lot of here in the North Dallas area, bulls, and what they do. That's what it stinks of to me. It smells of total bullshit. It just smells. It stinks to me. Totally stinks to me. Just the same as right now, it's like I can't see Chicharito going for anything less than, I'd say anything less than 10 million.
Yeah, I say at least 12. At least 12.
Yeah.
One of the other things that apparently has been rumoured the last week or so, and I am yet to stop laughing about this, to be honest. I'm trying not to laugh now talking about it, is Anderson going to Liverpool. Seriously?
Oh,
who on earth came up with that idea?
I don't know but the idiot has also said that now he's highly offended. He's probably going to go to Liverpool because he can get more exposure and get him into the Brazil squad. Oh, do me a bloody great favour. It's not going to happen. No. Liverpool don't want him. What do they need of him?
There's no position available for him. That's for damn sure.
They don't need him, so that wouldn't happen. That's another BS one.
Talking of bullshit as well, that people have been losing their minds from what I've seen over the last day or so, is Benzema's picture on Instagram. Did you see that?
No, but I was reading something about it. In fact, I pulled it up here. Where are we here? Is he
basically him just looking at the camera with the crossed hammers?
54.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that means absolutely nothing. He's probably supporting one of the players that we've got, rather than saying, because everyone's saying, "Oh wow, Benzema's coming." No,
he'd look good in claret and blue. He'd look really good in claret and blue. That beard would go really good.
Don't get me wrong. If that was if he turned up with at Rush Green, and had a medical, I'll be over the moon. I love Benzema. I think he's a fantastic player, but it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, I'm reading this. Look, here we go. The West Ham faithful have, by and large, taken this post for what it is. A random post that is likely has nothing to do with East London club. Translated into what I say, bullshit.
Yeah. He put it up there because he wanted the attention. That's what most people use Instagram for.
Yeah. See, I can't get on with Instagram. I know it for a start, I think it's a younger person's social media. I like Twitter because I get a lot of my news from Twitter. So I use Twitter quite a bit. But Instagram, the only thing I use Instagram for is when there are like West Ham fans like Georgie Leahy, who post do all of this stuff like that, and hold their shirts up and stuff like that, just to get an occasional look. But that's the only thing I use Instagram for. I don't use it for anything else. But so I'd be like, oh yeah, let me see what Georgie's posted. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, that's what she does with traffic lights, is it? Very nice. That's about all I do with that. The rest of it, I can't get with Instagram. So I'm not photogenic enough. I'm really not. So unless I turn the air down this way and bring Nigel out. So
I mean, just
yeah,
talking back to
look at that forehead. Look at that. There's no I'm all bloody forehead. So I look like a bloody monk. I look like a Chinese monk or something. Cool, blimey. I'm really like this from now on.
Now, when we talked about the Etheridge, the backup goalkeeper, one that I didn't think about, which apparently we are genuinely tracking at the minute, is Camarasa, who was on loan for Real Betis at Cardiff. I would love to see him in the midfield. Because saying about what you said about earlier about strengthening the midfield, I think he'd be a very, very good addition for us.
Isn't he's on loan for somebody right now? Isn't he on loan for somebody? Then it's and the loan out. He is. Is he on loan to? He's on loan to one of the big clubs, though, isn't he? No, he was on loan to one of the lower clubs that just went down.
It was Cardiff.
Cardiff. Yeah. He's a bit tasty. And now he could fill that box to box.
Yeah. He
could definitely fill that position. That would be a tasty little pickup, and I don't think it cost a fortune either.
Well, this is the thing. Real Betis do like to charge quite a lot of money for their so-called fringe players, much as their starting 11s. I would, as I say, if he came in place of which we were hoping that Nasri was going to do, then I would have that 100%, 100%. I mean, I'm obviously when I said earlier about trying to filter through all the crap, is when we are definitely not going to be wasting time on talking the fact that we're linked to Sturridge again, Welbeck again, Balotelli again, because they're free strikers. Maxi Gomez apparently is being hotly pursued by Spurs, according to certain sources, that they are leading the race for him. So which doesn't surprise me. It's about too much in January.
John, I don't see it. I don't see where he fits in Spurs. I just don't see it. I don't see that they have a need for him, to be honest.
I mean, there is a very, very, very good argument about the fact that they spent nothing over at all since last summer, and then they're going to spend 35, 40 million on one player. But you never know. Spurs always try and pip us to players. They always have done.
They do, but I think they tried to pip us to players when they saw us as being like sort of on a similar level. And let's be frank. They're a better team than us. I hate to say it.
We all hate to say it, but yes, they are. They are. Bearing in mind, they are where we want to be 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah. And I just don't see that they've got a spot in their team for Gomez. I think that what they've got on an attacking regime, I think is really quite superb. You know, I hate to say it. It makes my guts crawl, but I think what they got is really quite superb. I mean, good God, I never thought the Son was going to be as good as he was. That's for definite. And Harry Kane, when he's healthy, the man has just got a nose for goal. He really has. Nose for goal and a tongue for windows. He's really good. So, but I don't see it. I think there's a lot of. I think there are a lot of people that still hate West Ham and are trying to throw that stuff out there just to burst our bubble. I really do. But
at the same point, the reason why he's been linked with teams like Arsenal and Spurs, because he is that type of player, from what I understand. I'm not being hypocritical here by saying I know everything about him. I don't. I'm just seeing what people are talking about and just seeing what other public people have been saying about him, the articles that were being published about him. But he does seem to be the sort of player that we need to bring in to get us to that next level. Because at the end of the day, there's an article that I saw. I'm not going to name the website, but they said that Anderson is too good for West Ham and deserves to be in Liverpool. He is at the moment, yes, but that's the whole point: is bringing in players that are going to push us up, the same way that Man City did a decade ago, bringing in players like Vincent Kompany. Who else was back in those days? David Silva was a very early appointment as well for that point. So to slowly but surely bring in next level players, and that's what we're trying to do. I mean, I honestly think if an Outovich situation had happened in a better way for both parties in January, we would have brought in Gomez then, because a lot of it was all down to what was going on with Arnie at that point. And as a result of that, you know, as I said, and when we talked about it last week, I honestly think that it would be a good idea that we get rid of Arnautovic as quickly as possible and bring in somebody that is going to be able to be a centre forward. That he's an attacking midfielder. Doesn't matter what anybody says. There is a good argument that he doesn't. There isn't one specific position for him other than the fact he's attacking midfielder, a bit in the centre or out on the wing. But we need decent strikers to come in, and the prices that we're going to not be able to afford are so vast, it's unbelievable, and that's where I really think we're going to struggle next season. If we have to sell before we buy, we've not got quality to sell.
No, it's true. It's true. I'm quietly confident that we'll be okay next season, though. I really do. Like I said, almost like to bring it full circle. I think Pellegrini's done a really good job this year. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I'll give him a B plus. I'm only giving. I would have given him an A, but I didn't because we did bomb out so early in the cups, and that's my only reason there. You know, that I was counting on that. I really was counting on that. I think a lot of us were, and but I'll give him a B plus because I think he you know, if you look, I know we just slagged off the stats, but if you look at the stats, we've done better than we've done in a long time.
Yeah, which we talked about last week. The average position is 11th place with was it 45 points? 42, 43 points a season. So yes, there is that. As I say, as I said earlier, you can manipulate stats to do whatever you want.
You can. But and he looks at, and it's nice to have a person who looks like they're in control. And he does look like he's in control of it. The one great thing that like you mentioned just earlier is the fact that we're not being linked with everybody. The rumours have certainly dried up a little bit. There's not leaks coming from the ship all over the place, which is lovely. We don't have to worry about you know, little mini Sullivans all over the place tweeting crap out saying we're getting this and my dad said that and my dad said this. That's a wonderful thing. But
also bearing in mind, he's obviously the last 12 months he's been focusing on the women's team being their director, and that's really that seems to have matured him a lot. For example, if you watch the video, the interview that he did after the game, I think it's before the game. Sorry, he wasn't that little, for lack of a better way of putting it, that snot-nosed teenager that he was a year or so ago. He was a lot more composed, a lot more professional, and as a result of that, that's really helped the rumour mill be the puddle that it is rather than the river that it has been for the last few seasons.
And here's another thing for you. I've got to throw this out here because I looked at a picture today and there was a photograph of Gold and Sullivan, and Gold, who I actually genuinely like. I think he's a nice old man. He's like the cuddly old man from the front office. Sullivan, who I can't abide. But whenever I look at Sullivan, actually, let me put it this way: whenever I see somebody giving the crossed hammers, it warms my heart because it's something that means something to me. Whenever I see Sullivan go like that, you know what it reminds me of? Fucking Dracula. It reminds me of Dracula. Whenever I see Sullivan going like that, I expect this. Oh, that's what I expect. Whenever I see Sullivan cross his arms across his chest, it reminds me of freaking Nosferatu rising from the dead. That's what it does. It don't feel right to me. It doesn't feel genuine. And I ask anybody else that's out there. I looked at it today and I was like, yeah, it does every time. Every time I see Sullivan doing the cross hammers across his chest, he just looks like bloody Dracula to me. He does.
He is a contemptible little nerk. I'll agree on that thing because as we touched on last week, he's well known for having a love of West Ham, but he's a Cardiff supporter.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a nice geezer, and if he's watching the show, I'm sorry, but you look like Dracula when you do that. It's like the only thing that's missing is a big bloody collar and a cape. That's it. It is. He looks like bloody Dracula just getting up from his deathbed.
I'm just gonna. That's all I'm gonna say for the rest of the time now. Is that weaselly little pointy little teeth now? That's all I'm gonna say. Brilliant, guys! Thank you very much for your time. It's been quite some good conversations going on in the live chat here. Just one final word on it from Wally's World. Said, I like Anderson. I think he's better without Arnie. Every time Anderson doesn't serve up the perfect pass to Arnie, Arnie gesticulates at him, and then Anderson's shoulders slump and he goes missing. Yes, agreed, 100%. But at the same point, Anderson's matured a lot more, and I really, really think he's going to have a fantastic season with us next season.
I do.
So, guys, thank you very, very much for your time. It's, as I said, we've got hopefully some new podcasts coming up in the next few weeks. Obviously, now that the season's properly over and all the domestic, the FA Cup and everything's over, a lot of people are going on holiday. So, what we're trying to do is try and keep up some information for you. There's a new video that I'll be doing as a continuation on for the rules that are coming in next season. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be coming out on Saturday. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you like the channel and if you've enjoyed this conversation, either put your comments in the comment section below, guys. I always want to know what you're thinking on this. Jones made a couple of some very, very good notes and comments in the live chat. As I say, Wally World has done as well, guys. Share the channel with anybody that you know who may want to watch it as well, because the more we get, the more interaction we get, the more the entertaining the conversations will be. And to be honest with you guys, even though it's just me and Wayne having a conversation, it seems to get more and more entertaining every time he's on. So I really want you guys to jump in and join in the chat properly as well. In the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your week, and you will see me at the weekend, or if not, very, very soon. But the problem is, because there's no real things to talk about, it makes it my job very, very difficult. But at the same point, I'd rather have that than me on every night chatting shit to all you guys because of everything that's going on in the papers and the ridiculous stories. This is why I try and do it on a weekly basis, so we sieve out all the crap and we just have things that are actually legitimately decent to talk about. So in the meantime, guys,
we could do cocktail recipes.
That's not actually, do you know, that could be quite an entertaining conversation, mate. Actually, think about it.
Cocktail recipes. You'd name them, one drink could be like bang your head up against the wall until it cracks open in frustration. That could be one recipe. Sorry, mate. Go ahead, continue.
No, we could have Arnie's poison.
Yeah, seriously.
So in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for your time, and I will see you very, very soon. Before we do round this up, Wayne, as usual, mate, is there anybody you want to have a shout out to?
No, just all of my Dallas Hammers mates and all of the American Hammers out there that are following it. Look forward to seeing you, during the course of the season. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be on American Hammers TV too much, because I know that Tim's going to be really busy. And like John said, there's not an awful lot to talk about in the off season. Thanks for having me on, John. I appreciate it, mate. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. If you're down in Dallas and you want to catch me during the NPSL season, you can see me at the Denton Diablos games. I'm going to be doing the color commentary for that, and there's a Facebook Live for that. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Wayne_Hammer. So you can give me abuse if you want to, or just follow me, because I've got a bet with a Manchester United supporter as to who can get to 1,000 followers first. And so far, I'm beating him. Thanks for having me, John. I really appreciate it, mate.
No, you're welcome, mate. And actually, you've just reminded me of something I haven't done for a good few weeks, actually, saying about how people can contact me, because obviously there's this channel, but you can also tweet me on Twitter, obviously on Twitter at JPWHUTV. You can see me on Instagram as well. There's an Instagram TV account set up, but I don't really know how to use that properly yet. I'm waiting on a very, very good camera to try and help me do that. But at the meantime, you can follow the channel on Instagram at JPWHUTV. There is a group page and channel page set up on Facebook as well. Again, at JPWHUTV. There's quite a few people use fanvibe.com. So Wayne, next time you speak to Tim, ask him to get onto there as well, because that really helps. It's quite an not underground is the wrong way of saying, but it's a website that not many people know about. There's a lot of football conversations goes on in there. So I keep forgetting to tell him, but if I don't tell him, by all means let Tim know, Wayne, about fanvibe.com. FANVYBE. You can find the JPWHUTV on there as well. So I'm pretty much all over social media, which is hysterical because I'm not the sort of person that uses social media in any shape or form. but then again, I've got a YouTube channel. So in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.